Imagine a 64-year-old woman strapped inside a barrel poised at the edge of Niagara Falls. The roar of crashing water pounds her ears, a heartbeat away from plunging into almost certain death. Why take such a monstrous risk? This question cracks open a whole new way of seeing risk, not as some cold statistic, but as a deeply personal fingerprint shaped by who we are and the stories we live by. What if your relationship with risk reveals more about you than you realize? Risk isn't one size fits all. It's a messy, human-coded signature baked by your past, your culture, even your dinner. Let's dig into how your risk fingerprint shows up in everyday life. Annie Edson Taylor in 1901 was the first person to survive going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. She wasn't just chasing headlines. Annie was driven by a mix of desperation, ambition, and a lifelong sense of calculated daring. Her story kickstarts Michele Wucker's idea that risk is tied deeply to who we are, our history, personality, and what we're willing to gamble. Our perception of risk is a cocktail mixed from culture, body chemistry, even the room's temperature. Think of it like glasses tinted by your upbringing and environment. Sometimes they make dangers loom larger, sometimes smaller. Wucker calls this a risk fingerprint, an invisible lens shaping how we size up threats and opportunities without even noticing. Once you grasp your own risk fingerprint, something shifts. Teams innovate better because they understand why a colleague hesitates or leaps forward. Nations improve pandemic responses because they see how collective psychology plays out in decisions. The payoff? Risk becomes not a fearsome unknown, but a map you can read and rewrite. Ever notice how avoiding one risk sometimes births an even bigger one? Wucker unpacks this trap when our efforts to stay safe backfire spectacularly. Some CEOs aiming to protect their company's bottom line ironically expose it to brand damage by indulging risky personal behaviors. Think scandal, substance abuse, or reckless decisions. Boards have woken up to this uncomfortable truth. Their CEOs' private risks can cascade into public crises. Risk avoidance here ironically creates vulnerability, not safety. Febreze was supposed to kill bad odors. Instead, it flopped because people didn't crave odor removal but completion, a sense that cleaning was done. The makers reframed the product as a finishing touch reward. This pivot shows Wucker's point: how you frame risk and reward changes behaviors profoundly, turning failure into breakthrough. Risk isn't just a threat. It's often an invisible tax on your choices, economy, and relationships. By recognizing the hidden risks born from fear, like in companies or societies, you can reshape decisions, reduce wasteful overcaution, and unlock new value. Wucker challenges you to see risk as a two-way street, not just a barricade. Risk feels like a tug-of-war inside you, ego pushing for glory, empathy warning of danger. Wucker shows how to harness both without falling for cliches or stereotypes. Wucker challenges the tired trope that men are natural risk-takers and women risk-averse. It's more nuanced. Women and men assess risks differently because of social roles, not biology. For example, female leaders often outperform risk in crises by balancing caution with bold moves. It's a fresh lens that shatters stereotypes and enriches how teams manage risks. Even tiny factors like the color of a room or the kind of snacks at a meeting subtly nudge risk decisions. Studies show decision-makers are more willing to take chances after eating sugar or in warmer rooms. These microbiases accumulate, shaping everything from business deals to pandemic responses. It's proof your risk fingerprint isn't just big events but small, everyday things. Empathy isn't just niceness, it's a practical tool for better risk. Understanding your teammates' risk fingerprints, what makes them hesitate or rush in, builds stronger strategies. Wucker tells how companies that listen carefully to different risk views innovate faster and avoid catastrophic pitfalls. Empathy lets you see risk as a shared journey, not a solo battle. Back to Annie Taylor and her barrel, her leap shows us risk isn't a blind gamble but a deeply personal signature shaped by life's story. Now you've started mapping your own risk fingerprint. Next time you face uncertainty, pause. What's your invisible lens? Try jotting down one risk habit you didn't realize you had. Change your view and you change your world. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.